Hello, good morning students. And up to now we have studied about the nationalism in Europe, the concept and the rise of Napoleon and the code of Napoleon in the year 1804 he introduced. Today we are going to find out what was the impact of Napoleon on the condition of Europe in the 18th century. We all know that Napoleon was a dictator and he tried to unite France and make France a very big nation and add the countries which were neighboring to France and make his empire a strong one. He introduced many reforms. He was welcomed by people who were suppressed by the autocracies and the kings of their countries because these kings were very ruthless and they discriminated with the people. So the people, they welcomed Napoleon and his armies when they attacked those countries and they disposed the rulers from there and they set up the system which Napoleon introduced. So the people of Europe welcomed, and in those countries like Germany, then Italy, Switzerland, these countries the people they welcome the French armies. But we all know that each and every coin has two sides, one dark one and one very bright one. So what was the demerits of Napoleon? The first demerit of Napoleon was he increased the rate of taxes for funding war. War require money, huge sum of money, and where this money will come from? This money will come from the taxes from the people. So he increased the taxation. He introduced more restrictions on private property. Therefore, the people with private property, they were against Napoleon. And in many places, people opposed Napoleon because he tried to introduce the French language at those places. Means those places where the people were of different ethnic variation, he tried to impose the language of France, French. Therefore, these people of the nationalities, they opposed of Napoleon. So, the main reason for the fall of Napoleon were these three effects, and this led to the fall of Napoleon in 1815. At the Battle of Waterloo, Napoleon lost to the combined armies of European countries led by England, and he was exiled at St. Helena, and in 1821 he died. Therefore, he lost the Battle of Waterloo in 1815 and was exiled at St. Helena. He died in 1821 while in exile. So his end came in 1821 when he died, but the reforms he introduced in France and other European countries, it was a role model. And today also many of these concepts, the measurement, the currency, the decimal system in weights and measures, we adopt it. So he is called a modernizer of modern Europe. So now we are coming to the political condition of Europe. In the 19th century, Europe in the 19th century was divided into many states or nation states. It was not a unified Europe. Today we find many countries big and small in Europe, but at that time there were duchies, cantons and small kingdoms which were ruled by dukes, earls and the big ones by the king. So there was no political order. Means like today. There were no political boundaries like today. Means today we have political boundaries which are fixed. But at that time, during the regime of kings, the king used to attack the other kingdom and they annexed the weaker ruler. So the boundaries were changing all the time, and the weaker kings, they were disappearing and strong kings came up in there. Then at that time, duchies, cantons and small states existed. Means there was no politically big and strong country, and very small fragments like duchies, canton were there, and the dukes were the ruler, who were the vassals of the big rulers or the big monarch or the emperor. So in this way the political order was not very stable in Europe and the boundaries were always changing. So people various lived together. People of various ethnic communities, they lived together, as because at that time the more strong the ruler, the more empire he has. So it was possible that under the leadership of a ruler, the people of various ethnic variations, they were found speaking various languages, having various culture and sharing different ideology. The people were living in the same empire. There was no country which was according to the language created. Today we know that in Europe, the countries which are created, they are according to language. Like France, the French language is there, German language is there in Germany, then in Switzerland, the Swiss people live and the Swiss language is there. In England, English is there, Scotland, Scottish is there, Irish as well as Welsh. All these languages are existing in today's scenario. But at that time, due to the autocratic government, the government were autocratic in nature, and the kings who were more powerful, they attacked the neighboring kingdom and they annexed it. So it was possible that at that time, a lot of people from various communities were living together, and they have no similarity in the terms of culture, ethnic variation as well as language. So it was possible at that time. But Napoleon created a scene that if the people of a given language were speaking a particular language and culture, they were united, then a state can be created for them. France became the first country in Europe to be organized on the basis of language, and the French language was recognized. Poems, then the prose and others, they were the literary works written by the various scholars, and the people began to understand what the scholars and the learned people wanted to deliver them the knowledge, because the language or the local language was used as a medium of instruction to the people. The people who were illiterate, they used to gather around the learned people and hear from them what they said. So in this way, a common sense of feeling developed among the people of France that they are common because their culture is same, their language is same, and they have to group themselves accordingly for a much stronger France. So this was the contribution of Napoleon in encouraging nationalism, and his reforms were very much acknowledged for today also. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for listening to me. Have a good day.